We're going to talk about goal setting. So Shannon and I were talking about, we want to keep it light and fun tonight. I go through and do a very systematic goal setting each year. And it's funny because unlike most of you, I don't do my goal setting at a typical time, like in January, like many of you do, or like October, November, as we start to go in, between the holidays. I actually do my goal setting around my birthday, which happened to be in September. So I just got done doing my goal setting. And I wanted to go through not so much what I've set for myself for next year, but I want to talk to you guys about what I do to goal set and what I did last year. And so that might inspire you to maybe get a good handle of your goal setting earlier rather than later. So I'm going to go through some tips that worked for me in the past and then show some fun photos. Some of you like to know what I do in my spare time, and so I will share a little bit about how I set the goals. But just kind of to kick us off, is most common, I thought this was fun, Shannon sent me this, most common New Year's resolutions. It's funny because a lot of you, when you are goal setting, you're trying to figure out what you want to set as far as a goal. But it's funny because a lot of these New Year's resolutions, cut down on alcohol, spend less time on social media, spend more time with friends, exercise is also very, very important. I'm trying to find something I can do to exercise more. I think that always tends to be one of the goals that I set for myself. Is I'm probably one of those people in the New Year's resolutions. I just started earlier and figuring out how I'm going to exercise more. And so you'll see how our family weaves that goal of exercise more and how we break that down into more of a goal that can be achieved. So eat healthier, lose weight. Those are also some good New Year's resolutions. But what I like about this statistic is this is where people start. And then a lot of people fail to actually accomplish these goals. And they do so for various reasons that I'm hopefully going to have time to get through tonight and discuss with you. So the number one reason why people do not hit those goals of exercising more, using social media less, is because they fail to write it down. It's half the battle. If you look at this, 83% of people don't have goals. And then 10 times more people are successful when they have their goal in their head. So those visionaries are the people that aspire to do some great things, but the people that actually write it down, write their goals down, are 30 times more successful. And this statistic has been displayed. I had to pick between 5 different slides. And Shannon and I we like the simple little three little heads because it's very visual and it's kind of very much like most people, 83% don't write things down. And then if you write it down, you're going to be much more successful. So hopefully you'll learn this quick tip from Rachelle tonight. If you're thinking about what are my goals going to be for next year, whether it be business or personal or exercise or what have you, that you write that specific goal down. You're going to be more likely to hit it if you write it down. So here's a slide that I learned in high school. So some of you maybe didn't have the type of leadership training, or maybe you didn't go to a school that kind of broke down goal setting, but this slide, as I saw it on social media as well, but it's actually a visual that I remember from even high school and college. So I like this visual because it kind of puts down, there's a lot of people you may run into in your life where they have these big ideas, but then they don't really break it down they're kind of up in the clouds. I don't know if you know about some of those people, but I have people in my life that have a lot of big goals, but then they really don't accomplish much. And it's because they fail to realize this little graphic. So I like to put like a someday goal. I have a list. I'm a very big list maker. And then I like to take that someday goal and break it down into a 5-year goal, and then a 1-year goal, then a monthly goal. If you take your 1-year goal and you break it down into a monthly of what you're going to do to achieve that 1-year goal, and then break that down into week by week, and then based on the weekly goal, the daily. What's it going to take every day? What's one thing you can do so that you can hit your weekly goal? And then based on your daily is what needs to be done now. And Shannon and I talk about a lot about this is, we've got a dozen things that need to get done, but what is the most important? What is the one thing right now that I can do today that will help me hit that daily goal? And it kind of works. You work high, and then you basically have to work from the baseline. So I love how this kind of graph goes through based on my yearly goal. What's one thing that I can do in the month? Kind of breaks that down so your head's not in the clouds. There's a lot of people with their heads in the clouds, especially when it's time to goal set. Let's go to the next slide. So then once you kind of break down and you write down what you're thinking about, what's in your head, then you want to make sure that your goal is what we call a SMART goal. So a lot of my leadership training, a lot of the things that I've attended for goal setting have had to do about this. Each letter stands for something. It's specific. It's having a SMART goal. Make sure it's specific. That says target specific area for improvement, whether it be exercise, whether it be real estate. It doesn't matter what it is. It has to be specific. Then you'll want to make sure it's measurable, that you can quantify your progress. So if you look at the slide before, it has to be measurable, so you can break it down into annual, monthly, weekly, daily goals. It's got to be measurable, and it has to be achievable. So, I mean, if I had no eyes, no ears, it'd be very hard to achieve some certain things. So that's a pretty drastic example, but it's got to be something that is achievable, something that you could accomplish. That if you broke things down, that it would be an achievable, attainable resource. One of the things that kind of gives me a little bit of humor, if you will, is when I ask an agent, we've done surveys before in the past, and one of the questions we had on the survey is, how much do you want to earn as a real estate agent? And what's your annual goal? And so a lot of people will put $100,000. I want to earn $100,000, but they really have not made it specific. That's definitely not measurable, and it's not achievable with the way they currently are living and functioning. So it has to be something that's achievable, that's realistic, that can be achieved by resources that are put in front of you. And so many of the real estate goals that you set within Best Choice are achievable goals because you have the realistic compensation plan that matches that achievable goal that you've set for yourself. So that's what kind of gets me excited about what we do at Best Choice, because the goals you set for yourself are very achievable with the resources that we provide. And then the R stands for relevant. Why is that? That's the why. Why is this goal important in your life? That's what will drive you. That R will drive you when times are very tough, or when things are not going your way. The relevancy of that goal, the why are you doing this, will keep you focused throughout the rest of your goal setting time. So, and then the T is, what's the deadline? So make yourself when you're thinking about your goal, make sure that there's a time related element to that goal. When is the deadline? That's why it makes it very easy for us in my family to come up with that, because we definitely make sure that there is a deadline or a time that we want to hit that by, so we can work our way backwards. So if you think about SMART goals, that's the kind of 5 things that I would consider before I start out my course. Let's go to the next slide. And I've got that in my head, so you might have to take a picture of it. So goal setting is going to require, if you haven't gathered yet, it does require planning. So I purposely have this slide. Shan's like, do I have to make it so big? And I said, yeah, make it big, because it's a big deal. My husband, over 5 years ago, we were still, in fact, I was expecting my third and final child. My 7-year-old was getting ready to be born, and my husband came to me and had a 5-year goal. And his 5-year goal said that within 5 years, he wanted to hike the Appalachian Trail from start to finish, take off the entire time to be able to go and do this. And I said, oh my gosh, that's a big goal. And we've kind of thought about it. We had to kind of make it fit within the SMART goal setting thing that we just went over just a minute ago. And he we put it out there, and we then broke it down into what it would take. And it required quite a bit of planning. So I like this slide because this is actually in the hotel room where I dropped him off, and it's right on the Appalachian Trail. He actually got to do his goal. And it shows how big that goal was from start to finish. That map in the picture is from the beginning of the Appalachian Trail in Georgia all the way to the top of Maine. And so his plan was to not only hit and do the through hike from start to finish on his own with no additional help or support except for me dropping him off and picking him up, but also to hit the 50th state high point. So he has hiked to the top, or sometimes you drive to the top of every state in the United States. All 50 states, he has been to the top of the 50th state high point on his 50th birthday. So if you get really specific, my husband is very specific about what he wanted to accomplish. So that SMART goal, he was pretty high on the S and very specific about what he wanted to accomplish. And then we had to work together as a family on how he was going to hit that goal. And there were challenges along the way. So let's go to the next slide. So I will give you my tips for time management. So as you're kind of thinking about your goals, maybe you have something in your mind about what you want to accomplish. I want you to think about some of my top tips. The first one would be to time block. So you can have some big goals, but if you're not time blocking your schedule, if it's business related, you definitely want to source your candidates, source where that business is going to come from when it comes to real estate. You're definitely going to want to do a lot of follow up, make sure that when you're time blocking, you're following up and having further discussions. And you want to actually make it measurable where you've time blocked your day in such a way that you can hit the various things that will help you meet that daily goal. So definitely want to time block. Number one would be my tip. Tip number two, let's go to tip number two, Shannon, is to delegate tasks. So especially with the Appalachian Trail, where my husband was going to be gone for approximately 4 months, he had to delegate certain tasks, and so did I, because of him leaving our family. And I'm running a business and I'm running a family where he normally would be taking over some of those responsibilities in our house. We had to definitely delegate tasks. It works the same way with other big goals that you set for yourself. You will have to delegate some things. And that is something that you need to identify early on, and then find people in your path that will help you or assist you with some of the things that will help you get to your goal. And it works very, very well if you are able to delegate certain things. So for real estate, you might delegate data entry. You might delegate somebody to help you with your paperwork. You might delegate just, I'm struggling with something. I need to rely on somebody from the office to help me. You may have to type notes into a database. You might have to spend some time hiring assistant part-time. So there are things you can do to delegate tasks to help you meet your goals. Number three, the other tip that I would give you for time management was to automate repetitive tasks. So if there's something that you do on a regular basis that will help you meet your goal, and there's a way to automate that or make it easier, yes, sign up, take that. But if there's not a way, then unfortunately you will have to spend the time to do that. But if you can automate something, that's where you will leverage technology. So there was something that I had to do every single day with my household when my husband was gone, and I had to automate that. I had to find somebody to support me every morning to make that happen. And that was something that I delegated and I also automated based on the technology that I had at my fingertips. So find those quick wins that will help you in managing your time and hitting your goals. Number four, one of the things that my husband did, number three, automated repetitive tasks. He recognized when he was planning for his Appalachian Trail that one of the things that would help our household was he had packed Kyler's, my 7-year-old's lunch every single day. I should have had a picture of this, but he had planned ahead of time everything that went in his school lunch. Now, of course, not the sandwich, but like the drink and the all of the little things that go in the school lunch. He had packed 54 lunches, no joke, and he had those ready to go. And he had put some certain little notes in them, very sweet little dad, to keep his 7-year-old happy while he was gone on the Appalachian Trail. So that's an example of how he automated his repetitive tasks by creating number three and doing that little tip. Number four, you want to set realistic goals each day and each week. Make sure that you can do that so that you don't have this big goal and then you have burnout. Make sure it's realistic every day and every week. And I set aside 1 day a week to make those, to kind of refocus and recenter every week to make sure that we're on track. So that's what I do every week. I devote 1 day a week to make sure my goals are in alignment. Then number 5, you want to eliminate distractions. Yes, you're going to have distractions that pop up. They always do, especially when you're trying to do something very big, like open a real estate company or work on a real estate transaction that's very challenging, or hike the Appalachian Trail or do a marathon. It really does not matter what that big thing is. You want to eliminate distractions from that goal. So if you have to maybe not watch as much TV or not troll social media as much, you'll want to eliminate the distractions that are setting you back from hitting your goals. The next one, Shannon. If you can do similar tasks and bunch them together, that is also a tip that I've learned to do very, very well. So if something like, if I'm better, you also have better focus when you do similar tasks all at one time. I learned that a lot because one of the things that a task that kind of was a struggle for me when I was doing real estate, like a lot of you are doing, is prospecting, making those phone calls, blocking that time to make those phone calls. I knew I needed to do it, but sometimes it was better for me to do my showings on one day and do my prospecting phone calls on another day. So I just batched my similar tasks. So I do very, very heavy showing days, and then I would do very, very heavy prospecting days. And that seemed to help me eliminate distractions and keep my focus on the task at hand. When I was much more present during my showings and much more present during my prospecting, I saw my productivity go way, way up when it came to my real estate business. So that was my tip number 6. Number 7, my last tip for time management: take breaks. So one of the things that you'll learn when you're doing something big is that you will need times to take breaks. Don't take too long of a break, otherwise you lose the momentum, but you definitely want to allocate for breaks. My husband, when he's hiking the Appalachian Trail, we did plan for breaks. We planned for a break in the middle of his trip so he could fly home to see my son graduate. And he definitely had to find time in his day to take some breaks so that he can complete the Appalachian Trail in the time that he was given. So you definitely want to plan for that. You definitely plan if you're going to have a goal for the year of, say, a certain amount of transactions. Say you want to hit 24 transactions or maybe 12 transactions for that matter. You're going to want to plan some vacations or some breaks so that you are motivated to hit your goals and then take a break. And you always come back much, much more re-energized to take on that next challenge. So definitely plan for the breaks. Let's go to the next slide. So this is, I thought I'd throw some fun photos. I told you guys I would keep it light tonight. So this was my husband. This is Eric Wilhite. He did have, if you want to search him out, he could accept you and his friend, or you could just look on Facebook and find Eric Wilhite. He only went to Facebook just to just map out his entire, kind of document his trip from start to finish. So if you wanted to get some more pictures or to see more of the Appalachian Trail or some of his thoughts about the Appalachian Trail, you certainly can go to Eric Wilhite and you'll find him on Facebook. But I thought this was quite humorous because on June 30th, this is after he's been gone for a couple months, he said, "Just kidding, ... maybe, okay, I'll keep on keeping on." And he has this one from Forrest Gump, which I think is quite humorous. "I'm pretty tired. I think I'll go home now." He did hit a low point. When he was in Vermont, he called it Vermud because Vermont, it was so muddy and so nasty to hike through. And he was so wet and miserable that he did contemplate, I can see why people actually quit and go home. And so this fun image, he showed up on his Facebook feed. The other thing that he took a picture of was this one right here on the Appalachian Trail. "There are no places to obtain supplies or get help until the bridge, which is 100 miles. So essentially he had no cell phone, no amenities, no grocery stores, nothing for 10 miles. He was 10 miles in and he'd seen the sign, and it's 100-mile wilderness is what they call it. And they basically are trying to stop you. So this would be an example of a distraction or something that pops up to kind of try to almost talk you out of your goal. There will always be something that kind of challenges you when you're hitting something big. So he had to cross 2 major fjords in the rain. And he got his tent up. I mean, he lived out in the wilderness. He was practically a bum, if you really want to ask him. If you get to talk to Eric at one of our events, you'll get to see he lost about 30 pounds of weight. He came back very skinny, and he was pretty much looked like Forrest Gump, except not as big of a beard, I would say. So that was his adventure. While he was gone, let's go to the next slide. I decided to go ahead, and there's a picture of him on the summit. I took that photo. I did go and meet him at the finish, and he did hit his 50th state high point on his 50th birthday on Mount Katahdin in the Maine. And it was a very emotional and very humbling experience to see all of the people that had done the hike from start to finish, and how long it took them, and what it took to accomplish that goal and to meet the deadlines that Eric had sent. It's like pretty much like 1% of people that set out to do that through hike, and to do it within that time frame actually hit that goal. So it was very, very cool to watch my husband hit that goal himself, and to see his excitement, and also all the work that it took for him to get to that point. Let's go to the next slide. The last one I'll share with you is my personal goal. While he was away, I decided way back in September of last year, my daughter on the right, so you can see my daughter McKinley and I on the right, we are on our bikes. I wanted to do something big. I was really thinking about my birthday and what I wanted to accomplish. And so I called my sister, who had just had a baby, and I asked her, I was on my driving in my car with my daughter, and I'm sorry if I've told this story to some of you already before, but we were just driving, and I called my sister, and my daughter was working on something else, but was in the car, and I said, I really want to do something big this year. This is the year. I want you to go and do the Seattle to Portland bike run with me. What do you think? And she's like, how far is it? Again, she's trying to kind of plug me in. I'm trying to do my smart goal setting with her on the phone. And I said, you know what? I don't know. Why don't you look it up and call me back? I'd love to be able to do it with you. She called me back. She goes, oh, no, no, no. I am not going to do that. It is over 200 miles. It's like 206 miles. I said, but it's over 2 days. We could train. There's all these different things we can do. We can do the Centennial Trail in Spokane. I've mapped out, we can do Vashon Island. We could go from Seattle down to the Ording Trail. We can kind of prepare, and we can do a lot of training to help. And she goes, no, I'm out. And so I hung up the phone. I was really defeated. I was like, I want to be able to do this goal with somebody else. I thought that would be really, really cool to do it with my sister. And as I was talking with my sister on the phone and hung up, and I was really kind of just felt rejected, didn't feel like, I was like, maybe I overshot. And I was really kind of talking out loud, and my daughter was sitting there in the car, and she looked over at me and she goes, Mom, what would you think if I did it with you? And I was just like, are you serious? I'm like, absolutely, let's do it together. And it's something that she actually had an interest in. And so we trained together. And I will say that McKinley learned a lot about training just from this experience, or goal setting, because she realized that she had goal set to a point. She's still learning about goal setting, but after doing the Seattle to Portland, she did over 100 miles. She did approximately 120, 130 miles, and that's the most she's ever done in her entire life. So I would say she did a great job. But if we had to look back at it, I said, what was the one thing that you would have learned from this experience that if you had to do it over again and reset your goal? She says, Mom, I should have prepared more. I should have trained more. And so because of that, hopefully you'll learn from her that it does take preparation. It does take training in order to hit big goals. But I was very impressed with her. You can see the finish line. I did end up talking with Linda Kay. She's one of another lender that's in the industry. So you'll find people along the way that will also see the goals that you've set for yourself and go, you know what? I want to do the same thing, or I want to participate. And it inspires people around you when you goal set the way you do. And then it inspires other people like my son. So after I got done doing the Seattle to Portland and finishing, my son saw me at the finish line and saw how hard it was for his sister to pick up his sister kind of at that point in the mileage, and then to see me at the finish line. And he was so inspired. He's like, Mom, I want to to bike ride as well. I want to do this and also do the Seattle to Portland. So it inspires people around you when you set big goals and you crush them. So just wanted to share that with you. Some of the ideas hopefully will inspire you to kind of set goals. We're here to help you. I know Candace and Virginia and Shannon, they all set big goals. I see their goals personally and financial. As a team, we do that within our office. I have the group go ahead and set a personal goal that they want to accomplish and a professional goal. And most of my staff do an excellent job at making sure they hit their goals because we work off some of the tips that I shared with you tonight. So with that, I will open it up. Any questions you guys have? Candace, anything you want to share, or Shannon? Oh, good job, Alex. I got a few other STP people. I mean, now I know what 100 miles feels like, and I know what 200 miles feels like. So looks like a few more people did the STP as well. That's awesome. Having support along the way makes all the difference, doesn't it? If you do something big like that. Awesome. Somebody liked the steps. So yeah, definitely grab that copy. We also recorded it tonight. So if you need to listen to it and grab a snapshot, you can do that. But I love that little quick sheet. Other things you guys want to ask? Okay, people are chatting away. I thought it was fun. It was fun call to kind of do something different tonight. So hopefully you guys were inspired. I do want to share with you the goal that we have at Best Choice Realty is to take more listings. And I'm getting the numbers routed. We're gonna have some fun in the next 3 months at working on taking more listings. So if you have even an interest to work with more sellers or to take more listings, stay tuned. Candace and Virginia and Shannon and I have some really important things we're going to be working on. You guys are going to love it. We're definitely going to pump up our listings. So that's one of the goals that I've set for our office. And so Best Choice Realty across the state of Washington into Oregon and even to the borders of Idaho and up to Canada, we're going to be seeing more listings with Best Choice Realty signs. So I'm excited about what we've got on the horizon. Some people have asked me.
I'm not sure who LR is, but they're saying for a group ride next year. I don't know if that's necessarily in the cards, but I do know that our staff is doing the Wicked Fast in Tacoma. If you guys are interested in doing a 5K, all of our staff will be running that one in October. So if you guys are wanting to meet us at the finish line there and at least accomplish that goal, I know that's something we can all do together if you guys are interested. Yeah, that's a fun one. I like it because the 5K down in Tacoma, it's along Ruston Way, which is great because you get the views and it's fairly level. I don't think there's many hills on that run. And everybody dresses up in Halloween kind of, festive. Let's just say it's festive. Very fun to watch other people trying to accomplish a goal. So thanks for the reminder on that, Shannon. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's all I had tonight. Candace, did you have any questions or comments?
No, just my favorite thing is writing them down. And sometimes you have to do it more than once. So I think for me, when I started actually writing down my goals, not just writing them in a notebook or writing them down as a goal, but having that whiteboard where I have my little ticker that's in front of me that I could see, that's when it really changed because I'm visualizing and I'm seeing it every day.
That's great, Candace. I think Larry Luttrell said that to me on my last mastermind out in Spokane. He said, he told the group, because he didn't get a chance to speak. It was awesome. But the biggest takeaway I took from him speaking was one thing that I did different. It was I wrote down, just his wish list. He just called it wish list on the top of his whiteboard. Mm-hmm. And he wrote down all the people that he was hoping and wishing to get them to contract. And it was just really impactful. He actually got a lot of that business into escrow. Yeah. And it just took him writing down the names of the people on his whiteboard to visualize that, make that happen. So I think it's the same concept that you shared.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that.
Put it on a whiteboard, vision board. Yeah. Great, Colette. Love the idea. I'm a big believer about vision boards too.
Yes.
It's funny you said that about the writing it down in front of you. When I left KW, I had always had who I was working on, who was in my pipeline written in front of me. And I moved over to Best Choice and I hadn't put anything up yet. I walked into the office that Shannon and Rachelle use a lot, and they have all these listings and I felt like, oh my God, look at them. They're killing it. I'm like, you know what? I'm not seeing what I'm doing and not seeing what I'm focused on. And so I too went and put it back up.
It's good.
Yeah. Makes a
Awesome. Thanks for
difference.
sharing.
Yep.
I know Virginia's whiteboard, it looks like you've got stuff. I'm in your office right now. You've got a good visual. It's looking good.
Yeah, it could always be better, but it's
Yeah, we always want more, don't we? At
Yep, and I have a
real
couple
estate,
to
we
add.
always are looking for more. But
Yep.
no, I appreciate your thoughts, Virginia. That's great. All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful week. Next Monday, we are going to be pleased to have one of our top listing agents who exclusively she works expireds. So she's going to give us a little kind of a dialogue of what she does to work expireds. And she's been able to pull all of her listings from calling expired. So if you have any kind of just want to hear what she's doing, see what she's doing, dial in next Monday for that. I think you guys will get a lot out of her talking about what she does. So have a good week. We'll talk to you guys soon.